Robinson. I'm the vice president of the board. I joined this organization because I seen that Danielle was really making strides out in the community to upbring the youth. Not only the youth, but the community as a whole. So it's an excellent, I think it's an excellent opportunity. So I joined, I became vice president, and we've been doing this for how long now? 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and so far it's been a pleasant experience.
Okay, so we have Tavakas Dawson, and then we have Dr. Michael Huff. Oh, there you are. And then we have Earl Edwards, and then I said Dr. Chris Hickey. So we're going to be talking about different aspects, and this is more of a holistic approach to reaching ourselves and reaching our young people. Okay, so thank you, and we're going to bring up Christopher Taylor.
Well, hi guys, my name is Christopher Taylor. I am the secretary and board member of United Nation. I joined as soon as she came over with the idea for it. I've been kind of like her support and got her to help launch it up. Graduated outside LA with African American history since study, and I'm pursuing a medical degree. So yeah, so that'd be awesome. This program was really interesting to me because as I was growing up, I never had anything like this in my neighborhood, in my community. I always had to kind of look for her for guidance. Another college graduate, and as a person in my immediate family, I'm the first who graduated college. And to see the youth now, they are inspired to do more, to do entrepreneurship, to look for what they really want to do in career life. Because I noticed back then when I was in school, a lot of people were just going and they didn't know what they're doing, and they dropped out because of that. So I feel like this would be a nice foundation for our youth to, I would say, build a house for them. And so they can open the door and see the great things that they can do and offer.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thank you. So a little bit more of a background on organization. We have a program at Dorsey High School, which is not even a couple of blocks away. And then we have a program at Jim Gilliam Recreation Center. So at Dorsey, we do events based on career assessments, and then we lead them and guide them into their career. So I have a lot of my students last year, mostly every student that I have is a senior graduated from high school and went on to college. And then this year I have a lot of my students who are seniors, all of them are graduating, and a few are going on to college and others are going on to junior college. So they're going into different aspects of their lives. But they've really been able to identify what they want to do. So we've been going through a process. So one of my youth, for example, started out, she knew she just wanted to do psychology. She had no idea what, how or where. And then she liked sports. She doesn't play sports, but she likes managing sports. So she's turned that into doing more of sports psychology. And so she's been able to navigate that and figure out how she can do that. So I've been helping her understand her processes of, okay, you can major in psychology, but you can also, minor in business management or sports management. And so we're trying to navigate that to create her own path. Because when I went to college, I majored in criminal justice, and I switched. So I had no idea that you could take all of these majors at once. And so learning that, now I teach my youth, like you don't have to stay on the path that they show you. You can actually create your own and then make it work for you. So this is one of my youth. This is Javon, so he's actually supposed to speak. You want to speak? So he's actually on the agenda to talk about his experience. He's one of our diversity students, Javon Craddock.
My experience, I like United Nation. I've been in there since I was in 10th grade. And actually, I learned a lot from this program. Because at first, it was kind of difficult with a lot of students because certain people didn't get along. And that how we have to go out to the community and try to help people. Different things like that. But at the end of the day, we are still trying to get there as a big happy family. We still have problems and hurdles that we have to overcome. And I like it.
So right now we're showing, this is a skit that a guy created, and it's talking about the school
Einstein once said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today on trial we have modern day schooling. Glad you could come. Not only does he make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run. Tell me, school, are you proud of the things you've done? Turning millions of people into robots, do you find that fun? Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish? Swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless? Well, the time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Exhibit A. Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today, and here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today, and here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A. A letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it. Back then, times were different. We all have a past. I myself am no Gandhi. But today, we don't need to make robot zombies. The world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, independently, with the ability to connect. See, every scientist will tell you that no two brains are the same. And every parent with 2 or more children will confirm that claim. So please explain why you treat students like cookie cutter frames or snapback hats, giving them this one-size-fits-all crap.
Watch your language.
Sorry, Your Honor, but if a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all of his patients, the results will be tragic. So many people would get sick, yet when it comes to school, this is exactly what happens, this educational malpractice, where one teacher stands in front of 20 kids, each one having different strengths, different needs, different gifts, different dreams, and you teach the same thing the same way? That's horrific. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant should not be acquitted. This may be one of the worst criminal offenses ever to be committed. And let's mention the way you treat your employees.
Objection. Overruled. I want to hear this.
It's a shame. I mean, teachers have the most important job on the planet, yet they're underpaid? No wonder so many students are short-changed. Let's be honest, teachers should earn just as much as doctors, because a doctor can do heart surgery and save the life of a kid, but a great teacher can reach the heart of that kid and allow him to truly live. See, teachers are heroes that often get blamed, but they're not the problem. They work in a system without many options or rights. Curriculums are created by policymakers, most of which have never taught a day in their life. Just obsessed with standardized tests. They think bubbling in a multiple choice question will determine success. That's outlandish. In fact, these tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned, but don't take my word for it. Take Frederick J. Kelly, the man who invented standardized testing, who said, and I quote, "These tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned." Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if we continue down this road, the results will be lethal. I don't have much faith in school, but I do have faith in people. And if we can customize healthcare, cars, and Facebook pages, then it is our duty to do the same for education, to upgrade it, change it, do away with school spirit, because that's useless. Unless we're working to bring the spirit out of each and every student, that should be our task. No more Common Core. Instead, let's reach the core of every heart in every class. Sure, math is important, but no more than art or dance. Let's give every gift an equal chance. I know this sounds like a dream, but countries like Finland are doing impressive things. They have shorter school days. Teachers make a decent wage. Homework is non-existent, and they focus on collaboration instead of competition. But here's the kicker, boys and girls. Their educational system outperforms every other country in the world. Other places like Singapore are succeeding rapidly. Schools like Montessori, programs like Khan Academy, there is no single solution. But let's get moving, because while students may be 20% of our population, they are 100% of our future. So let's attend to their dreams, and there's no telling what we can achieve. This is a world in which I believe, a world where fish are no longer forced to climb trees. I'll rest my case.
So what do you guys think? Anybody have any opinions on that video or what you thought about it? Anybody?
Well, yeah, I actually thought it was profound. I never thought of it like that, and I've had some experience in some better schools, and he's absolutely dead right. When they focus on who the person is and using creativity, the outcomes are much better. You know, and the image of the classroom looking the same way it did 150 years ago was startling.
Yes, exactly. Anybody else?
I think it was awesome because especially our African American young men, we've lost a lot of them when they've turned off to traditional school. And I think it would be great for parents just to start thinking outside of the box on how we present education and how we educate our children so that they are more engaged. It's not that what they're learning is not important, but it's the way that we're teaching them. And that just summed it up so beautifully.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to call up our moderator, Dr. Willie Hudson, and he's going to moderate the event from here and going out.
Malcolm X once said that only a fool would allow his enemy to educate his children. So we're gathered here today, and make no doubt about it, that this gathering today is about a very important element that even takes place in the lives of our children while they're in school. So we're gathered here today to speak about leadership and education in our community. More specifically, we're going to hear from important men who represent empowerment of the youth in our community. It is my hope today that you will leave here with an understanding that the social pathologies in our community hinder not only the educational abilities of our youth, but we will examine and develop strategies to investigate and resolve the complex crisis experienced among our Black and brown youth, with a special focus on the inner city and how we can bridge the secular and the sacred inconsistencies regarding those social maladies. The social maladies of racism and poverty, injustice and inequality continue to impede the Word of God in the inner city context. In my book, called The Holy Ghost Guiding You Dance, I explore how the relationship of Black theology and holy hip-hop can explain, it can navigate, and strategize answers to today's social pathologies. As a result, I have found out exactly what this video happens to say, that what is real outside the school does not affect what is taught inside the school, thereby making education unrealistic. The truth about life is lost in the burden of non-stimulating intellectual discussions, making education irreverent. Therefore, school has no value for Black and brown youth, and where there is no value, there is no participation. Thus make education worthless and unnecessary. Each speaker that you're going to hear from today has made large strides in making education, mentorship, and leadership a priority in their lives, and therefore a priority in our community. When young Black men see grown Black men standing in front of them, who not only want to teach them, but are also dedicated to their success in life, it becomes a relationship vested in their future. Tobias Dawson is not only an author, he's a business owner. In our community, we teach our children to be employees, but Dawson teaches them how to be an employer. In his work, The Hurt Health Book, The Ultimate Guide to How to Recognize, Eliminate, and Prevent Troubled Behaviors, he identifies 14 characters that our youth are likely to encounter.
His rec method helps you navigate through the ignorance of the hurt hidden behind corrupt behavior. So if you are ready to break free from the negative cycle of imprisoned emotional, mental, and other choices, Rebecca Carson is here to help. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring up Rebecca Carson.
How y'all doing today?
Real good. Good.
First, I want to thank Ms. Danielle. I got the camera in my face, but I'm actually looking for it. I want to thank Ms. Danielle for actually calling me out to come speak amongst you guys. You know, it's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here to deliver the message that I want to convey to y'all. I actually want to say that it's an honor to actually be amongst the speakers that came out for us to be able to learn from them too. Today I'm here to talk about troubled behavior, and with all troubled behavior is actually a root to every problem that we encounter in life. It didn't just manifest, overnight. It's actually started, from a kid, and that's how far back I want to go with what I've been through and how I felt the problems occurred as I got older. So I can go back as far as about 4 years old when I was a kid, to where my dad was actually a drug addict, an alcoholic. I can remember times where he was putting beer in my baby bottle, to try to help me to go to sleep. Did it work? Yup. But was it right? No. So, like I say, I can see the root of the problem, how it started as a kid and how it actually manifested to when I was an adult. So here it is, I'm a kid, I'm around my dad, his friends, they drug addicts, alcoholics. My stepdaddy was actually very abusive, didn't grow up with my real dad. Drugs, alcohol, music, partying, I'm seeing all this when I was about their age. So coming up now, my mom, she got tired of an abusive relationship with my stepdad, and she actually wound up leaving him when I was like 7 years old. So now my parent, she's trying to fend for herself, and her kids. So she had to take an overnight job working graveyard shift. So as my mom being at work, who y'all think is raising me? Nobody. I got an older sibling. I actually come from 5. There's 5 of us. I'm the second of the oldest. So my mom was at work. The only person that people I had to look up to was my neighborhood. The neighborhood drug dealer. The pimps, the players, and the prostitutes. So now my mom is at work. The community is raising me, and it's all negative. So I'm going throughout life and running with the guys in my projects. I start stealing and start getting into illegal activity at a young age like this. And I want to go back that far to let y'all see how it manifests to what happened to me as I got older. So I'm running the streets. I get to stealing the whole nine. I wind up getting caught. First time on probation, I was 10, 11 years old. So now here it is, you got a kid that's in elementary that's on probation. But the people in my community, oh man, that ain't nothing, I'm actually getting props for being on probation. I didn't know no better, I'm thinking it's normal. So, like I say, that's the first time. Now I'm going throughout life and I'm getting in trouble, and all of a sudden I'm starting to skip school. I'm skipping school. One day I go to my buddy's house, and they had some girls come over and they doing their thing, and I knock on the door. My buddy go answer the door. He come back. He go in his drawer and get a pill bottle. He get a pill bottle. He go back to the door. He start dumping some stuff out of his hand. He go back to the door. I follow him. I see him making an exchange. So I said, man, what you just do? He said, I just sold him some crack, and he got like $30 or $40. So I said, man, how can I get some of that? And he's like, my sister boyfriend gave it to me. I said, well, I want to make some money too. I was like, let me get some. And he was like, man, you got to get somebody to sponsor me. He was like, you got to get somebody to put you down, put you on. So I'm like, okay then. So what I do, I go to the neighborhood. I go pilot all the local drug dealers. I'm trying to get me some crack. I'm trying to survive out here in the streets just like everybody else. So I finally get somebody responsible. Now I'm selling crack in my community. You know, the same thing that was around me as a kid, now I'm partaking into this type of lifestyle. So I go through 13 years old, I start selling crack. 17 years old, I catch my first dope case. I go to jail, I get released, first time offender, I get probation again. So you know me, I ain't thinking like, oh, probation, I've been on probation before, you know, that ain't nothing to me. So it's like, I can do that, you know, that's a walk in the park. So I get probation. A year down the line, my folks asked me, do I want to move to California with them? So I moved to California with them. I was a small fish in a small pond in Louisiana. Now all of a sudden I moved to Los Angeles. I'm a small fish in a big sea. So it's like now I'm dealing with piranhas and sharks and killer whales out here in LA. So it's like, what I'm gonna do? So what I do, hey, I become a piranha. I become a killer whale. I become a shark. So now I get to run in with the local gang out here. Before I know it, I'm gang banging. I'm already a dope dealer, so it's like I'm selling dope now out here in LA. So one day I asked my buddy, I said, he showed me his rocks, and I said, man, I said, what that is? He said, that's a 20. I said, a 20? I said, man, that's $40 in Louisiana. I said, how much you sell that for? He said, I sell this for $100. I said, man, he said, I sell this for $50. I said, man, that's $100 in Louisiana. So my mind, I was like, hey, I can flip something real quick. I ain't even got to sell it in LA. So here it is, I'm 18, 19 years old. I hit the highway. I start trafficking drugs. So now I'm back and forth from California to Louisiana. I'm gang banging. I'm doing all this and that. All of a sudden, I catch another dope charge. Hey, 2 years probation. So it's like, oh, probation, I can do that. That ain't nothing. Now, mind you, that's the third time I've been on probation, y'all. So this ain't nothing new to me. So I get back on the block and started doing my thing again. But now things is changing because I'm getting money. And I'm finna show you something, how your friends and your family will turn on you real quick. And to let you know it ain't no honor amongst thieves. So now I'm doing my thing, my family getting jealous, my friends getting jealous, to where now I'm the same people that I was actually thought was my family and I was riding for. Yeah, it was 1 minute to where I'm worried about my enemies, the rival neighborhoods in LA. Now I'm worried about the people that's actually around me. So I'm not only carrying a gun for this situation, I'm carrying a gun for this situation now. So going through all that, I started asking God for, you know, that I wanted to get out of this. Because it's like now I got to the point where I felt that I was fixing to do something to one of my family members that I love, one of my friends that I grew up with like shit that I love. So now all of a sudden it's like I'm praying and I'm asking God to deliver me from this, and Lord behold, you know, I go to Louisiana, I get me a new package, I'm headed to Louisiana. All of a sudden I get to Texas, immigration come on there, they ask everybody for their ID, everybody showing their ID, they get to me. All of a sudden they say, hey, you Travagos? I said, yeah. They said, you got any suitcases on this bus? And I looked at them and I said, yeah. They said, all right. Then they said, step off the bus. So I stepped off the bus. Here it is. They got both of my suitcases right there. I got a big old package of dope. So they take me in for questioning the whole nine. And like I say, I asked God to take me out of the game. When that happened, it was like the world had lifted off my shoulders, because what I asked for, God had actually answered my prayers. And I was so relieved, because I knew at that moment I was fixing to get some time. I didn't know exactly how much time I was going to get, what was going to happen, but I knew God was fixing to do something good for me. So I wind up standing there a couple of days. I get released. I'm out on bail, and I called my grandmother. And I said, Granny, I said, they gave me my time. And she said, okay then, baby. She said, how much time did they give you? And I said, they gave me 5 years. I said, off of 5 years, they said I'm going to do 3 years. And she said, okay then. She said, can you handle it? I said, Granny, I said, look who you talking to. I said, you know, I'm rough. You know, I come from the rough projects of Louisiana, and I got to run with some guys out here in LA. I said, Granny, you already know me. This ain't nothing new to me. She said, baby, she said, I understand. She said, but I want to tell you one thing, and what my grandma told me, I knew exactly why I was going to prison. She said, Tavaka, she said, you done gave so much time to the devil. She said, God want that time back. So what the message that I want to convey before y'all today is, don't worry about your past, or don't worry about what's going on, because the thing is, your future is what counts. A lot of us can't move forward because we still taking our future, our past, and we got it right here in our present. We got our past right here in the present and in our future. So it's like if you're trying to get forward and you steady got your past and you just dragging like this, how far you think you're gonna get in life? You're not gonna get too far. So I just want to leave y'all with this. No matter what you're doing in life, all you got to do is have self-determination, whether you're on probation right now, whether you have a felony or misdemeanor, if you're going through something in a relationship, whatever it may be, just always know it's a better outcome, and it's a better place that we can be than what we're in. It's always a better place. You know, God give us second chances in order to make amends, you know, with the people we done wrong as well. But with that, you gotta have self-determination and you gotta have a good support system. And I just want to leave y'all with that.
Because the Bible says that you train up a child in the way he should not return from. But what's particular about that scripture is it doesn't say who trains. It just when you train a child. And so many of our young people are not trained properly or at home. They will learn something from somebody, right? And so when you think about the pathologies in our black families, the system is not set up so young kids succeed. And the enemy has operated, as Shabaka said, in the family. That's his first battle. If he can destroy the family, he can pretty much destroy anything. So he reverses the order of our community. He has mothers who are trying to raise children on their own. That's not his order. So they have mothers struggling trying to understand how to raise sons. That's not his order. And so when you take a woman and you put her in a place of where the man should be to take on the responsibility of having to raise children, that's not his order. That's his first place to attack. So if he can get the family, he can get something else. He can get the future. Where are all the big mamas? See, my big mama's not around anymore. And there's a problem with that. So Big Mama was always the anchor. She was always the rock of the family. So she was able to communicate to Jabaka something that he never forgot. And no matter what he was doing in the street, young men learned to respect Big Mama. A lot of other people don't get our respect, but Big Mama always had our respect. So as we start to think about the things that are happening in our community, Jabaka just understands that this has already happened to him. So we don't want our young men to be in this cycle. Somebody has to break the cycle. So when I think about his story, I thought about that, and I also came across another thought. Back in the day when I was coming up, we were told to go to school, get a job, right? But those same jobs that were available then are not the same jobs that are available now. They taught young black men how to work with their hands. But now technology has gotten to a point where you have to understand how your mind is supposed to be trained to keep up with the technologies that are going on right now. We teach our young men how to save money and not invest money. We teach them to get a job and not a career, right? We teach them how to save money in a savings account, but we don't teach them about stocks and mutual funds and those sort of things. So those things are escaping us. So our next speaker has a lot to do with that, in my opinion, because Dr. Michael Huff is an internationally well-known developer and teacher of life skills, career assessment, and employability workshops for youth in our community. His international experience enables him to equip students with the ability to compete on a global scale. He has a master's degree in clinical psychology and a doctorate in organizational leadership. And the key to that is training our children to understand how to compete on a global scale. It is not about your hood anymore. It's about how you function in the world. So I want to bring up our next speaker, Dr. Michael.
Good morning.
Morning.
So to follow up with the presentation, the video we saw, and Tabaka's, a lot of the things she said resonate with my experience growing up as well. And I was in Minnesota, but then I was also in Louisiana, but I was also in Los Angeles, 75th and Hoover. And a single parent household. And, you know, I had to make it through some things. So today, what I'm really trying to do is pass on some information. You have these forms in front of you. See these forms? Go ahead and fill that out, please. I'd like everybody to take it because it's basically an assessment based on the theory of multiple intelligences out of Harvard University. It's been around since the 80s. It's something that actually is used in 70 different countries, but rarely used here in our inner city schools. And rarely used because of some things pointed out in that video. The school wants you to behave a certain way and think a certain way, and this assessment actually identifies the way that you were born, your dominant intelligence. The guys, they have to, it's good from kindergarten to 80 years old. We need more, there's more right there. So we use these from kindergarten to 80 years old. Go ahead and fill it out, put your name on there, put your, fill out the information on the top. I'm going to show you pictures, basically, okay? And the theory of multiple intelligences has been around, as I mentioned, from the 80s, but we've tied it to the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, which has 16,000 different careers, okay? And the professor that actually designed this assessment from the University of Riverside I've worked with for a couple of decades, she was hired by the Japanese government to come to Japan to help create schools based on this. Why? Because the Japanese understood that if they can identify early what the abilities are, they can nurture that. They don't lose any students. They don't lose any students. And so their educational system has taken that. Many countries around the world have taken it and said, wait, there's a way to identify, as the person was talking about, the way people are intelligent and the abilities they have innately before you add education to it. You know, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this. I'm going to show you some pictures. And you see on the form you have A and B. And we're going to look at 28 pictures. I'm going to ask for one other person to come up and help me do this. So we can get this around. So you're going to see an A and a B, and basically you're just going to put an X. If A is more like you, you put an X. If B is more like you, you put an X or a check. Okay? And this is the kind of test. When people hear test, they think, oh no, a test, I don't do well at tests. There's no wrong or right answer. It's based on the individual. Okay? No, actually, so if you would hit them right here, then I'll hit the groups over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready. I'm going to show you some pictures, and she's going to show the same pictures to this group. Unfortunately, we weren't able to project it up there, so we're going to use these booklets. Okay? Okay. So we're looking at A and B. Which one is more like you, A or B? Let me come back here. Let you see it.
That picture number 14 right there? That's one.
And we're starting with 1A and 1B. Which one's more like you? 1A or 1B? You can walk out to them. You can walk over to them. Okay? Put a check in there. Which is more like you, 1A or 1B? Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's go on to 2. Which one's more like you? So, what we're going to do right now is the theory of multiple intelligences says that people are intelligent in a lot of different ways, and then what we've done is we've taken that ability and looked at careers, and careers require different types of intelligences. And we also could talk about how people process information and prefer to process information. Some of you are linguistic. That means you love words and letters and editing and rapping and poetry. Logical, mathematical. Those kind of people like to do things sequentially and in order. You've got scientists, you've got computer programmers, you've got file clerks who know how things need to go in order. Then you have visual spatial, you have spatial. Some people see things in pictures. They think you can see those kind of people. And young children, you'll ask them a question, they'll close their eyes and they can visualize things. They learn better with visual cues. And sometimes in schools, when teachers give them a movie about something in history, they got it. But if you say, okay, just read the book, read the words, that ties more to a person who's linguistic. But the visual people need something else. And visual, so the spatial, turns into jobs as well. If you think about it, an interior design person or a fashion person can see the things that you can't see. They're like, I'm going to make this and do this to it. You can't see it till they show it to you, but inside their head, they can see that. That's where the spatial comes in. It ties to careers. And you have that document. Next one is musical. Some people operate really well with music. And, some people prefer to have music when they're studying. Some people are musical, bodily kinesthetic, and logical sequential or visual spatial. They're choreographers. Okay? So there are different combinations. The next one is body kinesthetic, moving. Some people learn through moving. If you get them up and have them do something, carpenters are bodily kinesthetic, but they're also logical sequential. Because they love to measure things and understand the angles as they do the work. Then you have intrapersonal. Intrapersonal people actually need time away to think about things deeply themselves. And intrapersonal people can be scientists and doctors as well. Especially intrapersonal, let's say you have a brain surgeon, like Dr. Ben Carson. Never mind what you think, Dr. Carson has intrapersonal in that he is going to, in a brain surgeon, if you're working on my brain or my heart, I don't want you saying, hey, how you doing? I want you focused on this, right? And that's what intrapersonal is. They can focus. They might not have all the social skills at that time, but we want that person focused. So that's what intrapersonal. Interpersonal is the person who can greet everyone, meet everyone. You can see that from young children. Some young children are ready to meet and interact with people. Those are abilities that can be nurtured. Oprah's linguistic and interpersonal. That's a great combination to have. So you have this information. Maybe afterward we can talk a little bit about questions.
One of the things that is particularly important about our community is we have such a varied degree of learners. There's research that says that there is something now being discovered called HE, which means hip-hop education. Hip-hop is a language that is currently or commonly understood between all youth. It doesn't matter the ethnicity. And they have found that when you use something that is familiar to the culture, they learn differently. See, when we were brought over here from Africa, we already had intelligence. We already knew how to think. We already knew about education. We were a people of music. We were a people of culture, of wisdom. And so when we take this test, we teach, especially in the Bible studies that I'm involved in, that there is a scriptural biblical difference between being smart and having wisdom. Smart is a word that's not even used in the Bible but once. And when it is used in the Bible as one time, it's not a good thing. What the Bible does teach us to do is to have wisdom. Wisdom comes with experience and maturity. So a lot of our young people who are in school are trying to be smart, are still lacking the ability to have wisdom. Wisdom is taught from the generation that comes before them. We have failed them in that regard. And so when the doctor starts talking about the different learning styles and those different things, it's a system that is not built for us. Because when we educationally can't live up to the PTSTs and the SCATs and those kind of educational tests that were structured by European knowledge and European education, our people are at a disadvantage. Our LA school districts are filled with teachers who are only there not for the love of the students, but they're there to get their federal student loans forgiven. We look at the difference in our young men and our young women in school, and one of the problems that you have is our young men in school are further getting detached from the school system because it's not structured in a way that relates to the culture that we have to go through every day. And so because of that disconnect, it is very important for us to understand how that lesson happens. When I was coming up, I just could not get my ABCs right. And I started teaching in Bible studies where kids could not learn the Bible, the books of the Bible, until they were able to put it in a rap, or until they were able to put it in a song, or a game, or something that they could always remember and relate to. That's not being done in our current school systems. As the video showed you when we first began, it's teaching our kids how to be what we have always been 150 years ago. And if the school system has failed us for 150 years, it's going to continue to fail us for another 150 years unless there's some new learning and incentives given. So when we look at the difference between the Bible difference between being smart and having wisdom, we have to understand that research is a part of that. There's a part of research that has to go into our schools and discover what makes us tick. Because what makes us tick is what government young persons learn. And we have to let go of the tradition. So our next speaker reminds me of a saying that's in the book that I've written. It says, research is the curiosity of a thinker. And when we realize that we have to think and research to ourselves to get to certain answers, rather than operating on our feelings, that is a part of the educational process that we still have yet to learn in our schools. So our next speaker is going to be coming up. Dr. Earl Edwards served as a graduate researcher. Dr. Oh, just Earl Edwards. He serves as a graduate researcher for the Dr. Tyrone Howard Black Middle Institute. His current research is focused on educational equality for adolescents who experience homelessness. With over 10 years of professional experience in youth development and curriculum design, Earl Edwards has designed and facilitated district-wide professional development modules and effective teaching strategies for students with learning disabilities. That's important because in our school system, if we don't operate under the European design of education, we are always told we have a learning disability. We have been put in special ed classes when we should have been in advanced classes, right? Because we don't measure up to an educational system that doesn't meet our needs. Earl Edwards has founded and contributed to several youth development programs that support Black and Latino males across the country. And Earl Edwards proves that research is absolutely the curiosity of a thinker. I want to bring up Earl Edwards.
So my name is Earl Edwards. And the agenda for today is I'm going to tell you kind of who I am, my why I do the work I do. Then I'm going to go into the 30-30-30 rule, which is really talking about networking, why it's so important to surround yourself with people. And then we're going to do an activity. I want to make sure you have time to talk and discuss who's in your life, who will you be in your life, who's in your life. Right. So to start off, kind of like with my bio said, I was a teacher. So I taught in Providence, Rhode Island, and one of the low-income schools in the state. And I was a special education teacher. So I taught special education teacher? Perfect. Got one in the room. So I taught students that were labeled mentally unable to learn in an educational setting. Individuals have defiance disorders, which means that they got in trouble when they were in middle school and a teacher gave them IEP. And all the students I had in my classroom were all seen as being dumb, all seen as not being able to learn, and they were put in IEPs when they were in 4th grade, and when I was in high school, they were reading, not surprisingly, on a 4th grade level. Right? So, the reason I bring this up is because those students that I had, they actually outperformed the high school social studies class that was regular ed. So we had the same exact test, my kids outperformed them. The reading levels went up by 3 to 4 grade levels while they were in my classroom. Really just focus on they're only as good as their environment. And only as good as the individuals that put into them. Right? So that's a really big part of my identity. I also went to Boston College from Massachusetts. I have a master's in public administration from Columbia University. And I also I'm currently at UCLA getting my doctorate. So educational background. I'm also a mentor. And mentoring has been a really, really important part of my life. And a big part of the actual presentation today. So ever since I was in Brockton when I was growing up, I was the director of a youth camp. I started a basketball program for individuals in my city, like a AAU team, that had math tutoring embedded into it. College visits, they actually met with administrators. A lot of those students actually went to the colleges that we actually went to. Boston College, Stillwell College, a lot of really good colleges that we visited. Individuals knew who they were, and then when they were high school students, when I was writing the recommendations, they already knew who those students were and actually had a better opportunity to get into those schools. Providence is a similar thing. Los Angeles is part of the Concerned Black Men of Los Angeles, which is a nonprofit volunteer-based mentoring program in LA. And I started a mentoring program with them. I'm also a board member for Concerned Black Men. Also a scholar and advocate. So like I said, I'm at UCLA right now. I'm part of Black Keynote Institute. So I do research with Dr. Carson Howard around issues that pertain to Black men that spawn out to Latino men and also spawns out to Black Latino women. I'm part of Concerned Black Men, and I'm an advocate. Because I went through a lot of different things, I think it's very, very important that I actually push it myself to be an active advocate for individuals that are Latino. So I usually stop here when I give presentations because the audiences I give presentations to isn't usually the audience that's similar to my community, right? So growing up, I was homeless for 5 years. I usually don't tell too many people this. I started telling people all that. I was also in foster care for a couple of years when I was younger. At 12 years old, I was arrested. So I was on probation, had to go through Corey system. So it was cool for a while, and then my Corey, someone did a deep Corey check on me, and ended up losing a couple of jobs because they did a deep Corey check. Corey check is like how they do background checks in Massachusetts. I was actually a special education student, so I had an IEP growing up. I was dyslexic. I also had a speaking disorder, so public speaking has always been a fear of mine because no one could understand what I was saying until I was about 6th grade. Parents were arrested. I grew up with both my parents, but they also were incarcerated at some points. And also we had drugs in the house. Right? So this is the part I really don't talk about. I usually tell my students this, but I usually don't tell adults because a lot of times, a lot of audiences really don't understand why that's up so good. But I think this is an audience that can relate to that and also take that with the right intentions. So the reason why I want to talk about that is that your social network really matters. Right? Because a lot of people don't think that I went through those things when they did. Right? A lot of people think I grew up in a suburban home, middle class home, did extremely well in school all the time, and that's why I was able to get through that. Not knowing that a lot of the things I went through, I was able to have success despite going through those things. And a big part of that is because of the network that I was able to build. So the 30-30-30 rule really focuses on this concept of how you spend your time and who you spend your time with. Okay? So 30% of the time, or 33% of the time, you should be spending with mentors, individuals that will guide you and bring you to where you need to go. Another portion of a third of your time should be spent with your peers, individuals that are similar in your age, right, that can challenge you and also know the day-to-day that you're going through. And then our last third is actually mentoring. You should have mentees. I don't care what age you are. There's people who are younger than you. that need the knowledge you have. So you should also be spending and dedicating your time to actually get it. So a mentor, and I did a presentation earlier this month on mentorship, what mentorship is. It's not a role model, right? A mentor is not a role model. Okay? A role model is someone you can just see, they're doing good stuff, and you want to be like them, and you replicate what they do, right? The first part of being a mentor is being that, right? So you see them doing things, you want to replicate what they're doing. The reason why a mentor and a role model is different because a role model is passive. They're not doing anything really for you, right? They're just there having success, and you see it and you want to replicate that. A mentor also is someone who takes their social and cultural capital, right? So their knowledge, their experience, their networks, and they use it to help you. Okay? They use it to help you. So, Barack Obama, great role model for me. He's not helping me. He's not helping me right now. Right? He wouldn't be my mentor. He might be a good role model. I could read his book and learn some things from him. But he's not mentoring me, and he's not breaking down barriers for me as an individual to get to my next step. The third part of what I consider a mentor is individuals that provide you opportunities. They advocate for opportunities for you. So it's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you about a job opportunity." Very, very different to say, "I'm gonna tell you about a job opportunity. I'm gonna make sure you get that application done. I'm gonna call the job and say, listen, I know a great candidate for this opportunity to make sure that actually happens." That's what a mentor does, right? So a mentor is an individual that is actually now not just giving you opportunities, but actually helping you get through those opportunities, make sure the barriers are broken as you get through it.
Hi, my name is Danielle Lafayette. I am the founder and executive director of Unite A Nation. We are a nonprofit youth and community development corporation. Our mission is to transform the lives of youth and families by providing economic development and cultural arts policy and resources to build healthy communities. Our long-term goal is to end poverty. Right now, we currently work with over 100 youth annually. We have 3 programs, which is the Brilliant Imagination Program, the Innovation Now Program, and the Power Program. In our Power Program, we have civic engagement, career development, and life skills. In our Brilliant Imagination Program, we have dance and arts and cultural arts programming. In our Innovation Now program, we focus on entrepreneurship and community development and asset building. Our programs are designed to reach youth where they are, but we're also an intergenerational organization where we want to bridge the gap between the generations to bring more mentorship opportunities, more communication, and more community development and economic development opportunities. Right now, in our communities, we have a lot of lack of positive reinforcement for our youth. And our goal here is to make sure that our youth are developing the community that they want to live in and that they want to grow in. And we thank you for listening to our program. Have a good day.